Now, inhabitants of the Atlantic zone of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, particularly in Buea, are decrying the poor management of waste by the waste management company, Hysacam, and is accused of dumping waste collected around towns by the roadside in Buea, a locality in Buea, the capital town of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. This is not just an accusation, but a fact about an uncivic action of Hysacam that is slowing down circulation and posing a major health hazard to the people. In a video, Hysacam is captured dumping dirt by the roadside at rush hours, hampering circulation. Road users expressed their frustration in the video. Despite the outcry from the people, it appears that none of their in-house slaves who employed Hysacam services are bothered enough to do something about it.
Well, in the real sense of things, a dump site must be secured away from human habitation. But however, that is not the case in Buea. The local in-house slaves, like the colonial masters, have no consideration for the people of Ambazonia, let alone their health. Adding to the bad roads that make circulation difficult in Ambazonia, this pile of dirt have come to add to the deteriorating situation, as seen in the case of Buea. And yet again, the in-house slaves remain silent about it.
The American Bar Association, ABA, has issued a scorching critique of Cameroon's practice of using military courts to try civilians, including journalists, lawyers, and peaceful protesters. The ABA's report highlights the country's violation of international law and its obligation to protect human rights. Since the Ambazonian War began in 2016-2017, La République du Cameroon has seen a rapid decline in the rule of law and human rights. Human rights offenders, lawyers, and journalists have faced increased harassment, intimidation, and persecution, with many arrested, detained, and tortured. The ABA demands the immediate release of all arbitrarily detained journalists and human rights defenders and calls on the government to amend its anti-terrorism laws to prohibit the trials of civilians in military courts. The report also urges the government to respect its international obligations and ensure freedom of expression and ensure that it is protected.
Well, just the use of military courts to try civilians has been widely condemned as a violation of human rights law. The American Bar Association's report finds that La République's government has consistently denied defendants the right to a fair trial and appeals process, subjecting them to lengthy pre-trial detention and incommunicado detention. The international community is now calling on La République to respect its obligations under international law and end its crackdown on human rights defenders, lawyers, and journalists. Will the government heed this call, or will the repression continue? The American Bar Association has also shed light on the alarming trend of journalists being victimized by Cameroon's draconian laws. Ty Conrad and Thomas Awa Jr., who dared to cover anti-government rallies and peaceful protests in the southern Cameroons, were handed extended prison sentences by military court. Ambazonian sons like Chi, Chinyi, and Langmi faced detention in the USA without trial, accused of supporting the same Ambazonian struggle that faces repression.
Samuel Wazizi's tragic death in detention is a stark reminder of the dangers faced by journalists in La République du Cameroon. Many have fled the country fearing for their lives. The ABA reports condemned the opacity and limited avenues for defenders to challenge their detention or sentence, raising questions about the impartiality and fairness of these proceedings. The international community has widely criticized La République du Cameroon's use of military tribunals to try civilians, with the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention repeatedly finding it contrary to international law.
Well, the American Bar Association's stance may increase pressure on the La République government to reform its judicial practices and respect human rights. However, meaningful change hinges on international and internal political will and external diplomatic effort. The annexation is Government of La Republique reluctance to address these criticism raises concerns about its commitment to human rights and the rule of law. The plight of journalists in La Republique is another reminder of the marginalization and oppression faced by the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia minority. The international community must continue to shed light on these abuses and pressure the La Republique government to respect human rights and the rule of law.
Before we proceed with the rest of the reports tonight, let's get Barrister Mbesier share his thought. Of course, as a lawyer, he has so much authority in giving us exactly what it should be as it should be.